When I first started editing YouTube videos, everything was chaos. I didn't know what to cut, what to keep, or even where to start. I would open my editing software, throw in every piece of footage I had, and just start trimming randomly. It took me hours, sometimes days, to finish a single video, and the final result still felt sloppy and uninspired. But I kept going. I kept making videos, editing badly, watching others, trying things, failing, and starting over again. Slowly, patterns started to emerge. I began noticing what worked and what didn't. I realized something most beginners overlook. Editing is more than just slicing up clips. It's about thinking like a viewer. You have to be brutal, you have to be intentional, and most of all, you have to be fast. Not fast because you're rushing, but fast because you're prepared. That one shift in mindset is what took me from struggling editor to someone who can crank out high energy, engaging content consistently. It all begins before you ever touch your editing software. I used to think editing was about fixing everything in post, but I was wrong. The real magic starts in planning. I storyboard my video mentally or even on paper. I think about what the hook is. I visualize how the video will flow from beginning to end. I know where the tension should build, where the release will come, and how I'll keep the energy alive throughout. If you don't know what you're aiming for, your editing will be like trying to carve a statue without knowing what you're sculpting. You need to start with clarity, then comes shooting. This is where the real editing work begins. Yes, during filming. I film with editing in mind. That means no wasted footage. If a shot doesn't serve the story, I don't take it. I don't shoot for fun. I shoot for the timeline. I know that every extra minute of footage I record is another minute I'll have to scrub through later. That's wasted time, wasted energy. When I'm behind the camera, I already hear the cuts in my head. I already see the jump cuts, the zooms, the overlays. That foresight makes a huge difference. It's not about perfection. It's about purpose. Every clip has a job to do. If it doesn't do its job, it doesn't get filmed. Period. Once I'm done filming, I organize everything before even opening my editing software. This is where beginners lose a ton of time. They throw all their clips into one messy folder and spend hours digging through them. That's a huge mistake. I label my clips clearly: day of shoot, type of shot, camera angle, take number. I keep things in folders: raw footage, B-roll, music, sound effects, transitions. Everything has its place. That way, when it's time to edit, I'm not hunting. I'm building. Then I launch my editing software, and this is where most people really start to slow down. They rely too much on the mouse. They click every command manually. That might be fine if you're doing a short Instagram reel once a month. But if you're trying to put out regular, high-quality content on YouTube, that will destroy your momentum. I live on keyboard shortcuts. I learned them early and they became second nature. Cut, trim, ripple, delete, zoom, duplicate. These are muscle memory now. If you want to edit fast, you must stop thinking of editing as an art and start thinking of it as a sport. Efficiency is everything. Every click you save is energy preserved for making the video better. Now when I'm building the timeline, I build from the inside out. I don't start with music or flashy effects. I start with the story. What's the main arc? What needs to be said first? What builds suspense? What delivers the payoff? I cut everything that doesn't drive the video forward. There's no room for fluff. If I watch a clip and feel bored for even 1 second, it's gone. 1 second of boredom can lose hundreds of viewers. People don't give you their attention. You have to earn it, frame by frame, and that's especially true in the first 5 seconds. This is the most critical part of the edit. If someone clicks your video and they're not grabbed immediately, they'll click away. I spend the most time fine-tuning the opening. I'll test multiple intros, rework the pacing, add sound stingers, zooms, text overlays, whatever it takes to hook the viewer. Sometimes I watch that intro 30 times before I'm happy. If it doesn't slap, it doesn't stay. My editing style is fast, loud, and full of jump cuts. Every breath, pause, and gets trimmed. There's no room for hesitation. If I need to pause for dramatic effect, it's a conscious choice, not an accident. You'd be shocked how much time you can save just by cutting out all the dead space. When you start editing like that, your video breathes energy. It starts to move, it feels alive, viewers notice that. They might not know why it feels better, but they feel it. Then I layer in the audio. This is another huge time saver if done right. I use audio presets. I normalize my voice to a specific level every time, so it's consistent across videos. I drop in music tracks that I've already trimmed and timed for pacing. I have folders full of sound effects, whooshes, booms, clicks, dings, ready to drop into place. I don't go hunting every time. That would eat up hours. I've built my sound arsenal over time, and now I just deploy it. It's fast, it's clean, and it works. I also have templates for a lot of things: intros, end screens, lower thirds, transitions, even subtitle formatting. Once I've built something I like, I save it and reuse it. Why build it again from scratch? Templates are like cheat codes. They don't make your content worse. They make your workflow faster. That speed allows you to focus more on creativity and less on mechanics. Let's talk color grading. I used to spend hours messing with shadows and highlights and LUT and curves. Then I realized viewers don't care about perfect color. They care about clarity. So now I use one LUT 90% of the time. It looks good, it makes skin tones pop, and it's consistent. I make slight tweaks if needed, but I don't fall down the color rabbit hole. If it looks clean, clear, and punchy, I move on. Speed matters more than polish. You're not making a movie. You're making content. When I do use effects, it's never for decoration. Every zoom, every shake, every blur has a purpose. It points the viewer's attention somewhere. It adds impact to a joke. It emphasizes a reaction. Effects without purpose are just noise. If an effect doesn't make the video better, I delete it. That discipline keeps the timeline tight and the viewer engaged. Now here's something most beginners don't hear enough. You don't have to do it all yourself. Early on, I thought I had to edit every frame, mix every sound, color every clip. But eventually I realized my time was better spent on the parts only I could do. I edit the structure, the pacing, the story. Then I hand off polish work to someone else: captions, graphic enhancements, detail passes. If you can't afford to hire help yet, that's okay. But start thinking like someone who will. Start separating the creative decisions from the mechanical ones. That mindset will scale your speed when you're ready. My timeline is organized like a city grid. Every track has a purpose. Dialogue on one layer, B-roll on another, music here, effects there. I color code everything. That way, I can scroll through a long project and know what I'm looking at instantly. If something looks off, I spot it in seconds. That organization saves me a ton of time when I'm deep in the middle of an edit and need to make a change fast. And one of the most important things I've learned is knowing when to take a break. If I'm tired, I don't edit. When I'm worn out, I make bad choices. I cut things I shouldn't. I leave things in that should be cut. So I work in sprints, 45-minute focus sessions followed by a break. During the break, I walk around, stretch, do something else. Then I come back and watch the timeline with fresh eyes. I spot mistakes. I tighten things up. I find new angles. That rhythm of work and rest keeps me sharp. Editing is a grind, but it doesn't have to be slow. The secret to editing fast is not just moving quickly, it's making fewer decisions. If you plan well, organize tightly, use shortcuts, build templates, and stay brutally focused on what matters to the viewer, you can cut your editing time in half and double your impact. You don't need a fancy computer. You don't need Hollywood plugins. You need clarity, repetition, and discipline. And above all else, I constantly ask myself one question. If I wasn't the one who made this video, would I watch it all the way through? If the answer is no, I go back and fix it. No ego, no excuses. That one question is a powerful filter. It forces you to serve the viewer instead of yourself. And in the end, that's what great editing is all about. When I figured out how to edit fast, that's when everything changed. But here's the truth. Speed without direction is just chaos. You can cut clips quickly, throw in transitions, slap on some music, But if your editing isn't focused on keeping people watching, it's pointless. My goal is never just to finish a video. It's to make a video so engaging that people forget to click away. Editing fast isn't just about saving time. It's about maximizing impact. You're not trimming clips. You're sculpting attention. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that momentum is everything. If a viewer feels like your video is dragging, even for a moment, they're gone. That means the pacing of your edit matters more than anything else. You have to control the rhythm. You speed it up to build excitement, slow it down to build tension, then release the energy with a payoff. I learned to cut like a drummer. Every jump cut is a beat. Every zoom is a snare hit. Every explosion of graphics is a cymbal crash. You're not just telling a story. You're creating a rhythm people can feel. Once you understand that, your editing transforms from a series of tasks into a performance. And this rhythm doesn't happen by accident. I watch my videos over and over, sometimes 20, 30, even 50 times, not because I'm insecure, but because I'm listening to the flow. Does it feel right? Does it lose steam? Do I laugh when I'm supposed to? Do I feel tension at the right moments? If the answer is no, I don't tweak, I overhaul. I remove full scenes if I have to. I rewrite voiceovers. I reshoot intros. It's painful, but that ruthless honesty is what separates amateurs from pros. Beginners get attached to their footage. Professionals get attached to the final product. I don't chase perfection. I chase clarity. When I used to get stuck on edits, it was always because I was trying to make things perfect. Perfect color, perfect sound, perfect transitions. But the truth is, your audience doesn't care about perfect. They care about feeling something. That emotional connection is what keeps them watching, liking, and sharing. So instead of asking, is this perfect? I ask, is this clear? Is it exciting? Is it powerful? And if it's not, I change it. No pride, just results. You'll also notice that I never let the screen stay static for too long. Movement equals energy. If a clip is just a talking head, I zoom in. If I'm on a monologue, I add subtle camera pushes. If someone's laughing, I might shake the frame just a bit to give it a boost. These micro edits seem small, but they add up. They make the video feel alive. And when you stack those tiny bursts of energy on top of each other, you build something people can't look away from. Another trick I use constantly is pattern interruption. Our brains are wired to notice change. If your video starts to look too consistent, viewers zone out. So I constantly shake things up. I'll suddenly switch to black and white. I'll freeze a frame and draw over it. I'll cut to a completely different angle for just 2 seconds, anything that jolts the viewer awake. These edits don't have to be flashy, they just have to be different. The goal is to keep viewers asking, what's next? That curiosity is your best friend. Let's talk about B-roll. Most beginners either overuse it or forget it entirely. I use B-roll like seasoning. Not too much, not too little, but just enough to make the story tastier. And I always make sure it's relevant. If I'm talking about something stressful, I'll overlay footage that makes you feel tension. If I'm explaining something complex, I'll show a visual metaphor. I never throw in B-roll just because it looks cool. It has to help the story, otherwise it's just noise. Same with text on screen. I use captions, callouts, timers, jokes, arrows. Whatever drives the point home, but I don't do it randomly. Text should support the audio, not distract from it. It should feel like a conversation with the viewer, not a billboard. And when used right, text can boost retention in a huge way. People are more likely to stay if they can read and hear your message at the same time. That dual input keeps them locked in. Another major key to editing fast is having a repeatable system. Every video I make follows a structure, not a formula, but a rhythm. I open with a hook, then I present a problem. Then I raise the stakes, then I deliver a resolution or twist. That structure lets me edit without thinking too much. I know where each piece fits, so I'm not guessing or experimenting endlessly. And when you combine structure with creativity, you get speed and style together. That's the magic formula. Now, when it comes to finishing a video, I never export on the first try. I watch it all the way through, no skipping, no scrubbing. I pretend I'm the audience. I sit back, hit play, and absorb it. And I'm brutally honest. If I feel even a little bit bored, I go back and fix it. If a joke doesn't land, I cut it. If something feels confusing, I clarify it. I might go through this process 3, 4, even 10 times. Each pass makes the video sharper, cleaner, faster, more powerful. One of the biggest bottlenecks for new editors is fear of starting. They stare at a blank timeline and get overwhelmed. That's why I never start with a blank slate. I have project templates ready to go. Timelines with music layers already set, color presets already applied, text styles already formatted. That way, I can drop in footage and start sculpting immediately. That momentum at the beginning carries through the entire edit. And if you can build that kind of momentum every time, you'll never dread editing again. I also save time by using version control. That means I don't just overwrite the same project file every time. I save checkpoints V1, V2, V3, and so on. That way, if I take a wrong turn and the edit starts falling apart, I can go back to a stronger version without losing hours of work. It sounds simple, but it's a lifesaver. Especially when you're making creative decisions fast. And when I need fresh inspiration, I don't go looking at viral videos. I go back and watch my old ones. I study what worked and what didn't. I ask why people clicked away at certain moments. I read the comments, I listen to the data, and then I apply those lessons to the next edit. Every video is a classroom. Every upload is a teacher. If you treat your editing process like a never-ending lesson, you will get better every single time. One underrated technique I use is reverse editing. That means starting at the end and working backwards. I ask myself, what's the final emotion I want the viewer to feel? And then I build the journey that leads to that. It's like writing a punchline first, then crafting the joke. When you edit with the ending in mind, your choices become sharper, your pacing gets tighter, your message hits harder. Sound design is another area where beginners waste time. They try to build everything from scratch. I have a library of my favorite sounds, risers, impacts, ambient layers, comedic effects. I know exactly where they live on my drive, and I know exactly what they sound like. I use consistent cues so viewers associate certain sounds with certain emotions. Sound is invisible, but it's powerful. Get it right and your video feels cinematic. Get it wrong and it feels flat. I also use track stacking. That means stacking multiple sound layers, music, dialogue, effects, ambient noise, to create depth, but I mix them carefully. I duck the music under dialogue. I fade effects in and out. I EQ the voice to make it stand out. These are little details most people skip, but they make your video feel professional. And once you get a feel for it, you can do it fast. One of the things I've learned editing hundreds of videos is that you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes the best edit is the simplest one. Just cut out the bad parts, keep the good parts, and add a few things that make it pop. Editing is not about proving how smart or skilled you are. It's about serving the video, making it clearer, stronger, more alive, and the faster you can get to that, the better. I also test different cuts. I'll export 2 versions, one faster, paste one slower. I'll show them to friends or team members. I'll watch them side by side. It's amazing how much difference a few seconds can make. Sometimes just changing the timing of a joke makes it 10 times funnier. Sometimes cutting a single word makes the message land harder. That micro attention to detail is what takes a good video and turns it into a great one. At the end of the day, editing fast isn't about rushing. It's about knowing exactly what matters. If you can stay focused on the viewer, if you can cut every frame with purpose, if you can build a system that supports your creativity instead of slowing it down, you will edit faster than 99% of people out there. And your videos will feel stronger, sharper, and more addictive because of it. The secret isn't fancy software, it isn't expensive gear, it isn't cinematic transitions, it's repetition, it's intention. It's having the discipline to make 1,000 small decisions that serve the bigger picture. That's how you go from a beginner to a beast, not by being perfect, but by being relentless. So if you're just starting out, don't get paralyzed by perfection. Don't wait for the best gear, the best software, or the perfect idea. Start messy, start fast, learn as you go. Every cut you make is a step forward. Every video you finish is proof that you're growing. Editing isn't just a technical skill, it's the art of holding someone's attention in a world that's constantly trying to take it away. Master that, and you don't just become a better editor. You become a creator who can move people, inspire them, and change the game. So pick up your timeline, trust your gut, and hit export. The world's waiting to see what you've got.